In a world that never stops talking, where every notification and ping steals a little piece of your focus, have you forgotten what your own thoughts sound like? This isn't just about noise, it's about losing yourself in the chaos. But what if the answers you're looking for aren't in another podcast or a new article, but in finally choosing to be silent? This is the journey into intentional silence, a practice that unlocks the kind of profound mental clarity you've been missing. We're living in an age of non-stop noise. It's a constant digital blizzard that follows us from the moment we wake up to the second we close our eyes. Our phones buzz, our inboxes scream for attention, and our social feeds serve up an endless highlight reel of lives we aren't living. The soundtrack to our lives has become a mess of alerts, opinions, ads, and anxiety. We're told to hustle more, learn more, consume more, and share more. The message is loud and clear. To get ahead, you have to stay connected, stay engaged, and stay loud. But what's the cost of all this stimulation? What happens to a mind that never gets a moment to rest? You can feel it, can't you? That low-grade hum of anxiety, the sense that you're always a step behind, a mental fog that makes even simple choices feel overwhelming. We've mistaken all this motion for progress, this busyness for importance. We've gotten so used to the noise that the very idea of silence can feel awkward, even a little scary. It feels empty, like we're missing out. But the truth is, we're missing out on something far more important: ourselves. The biggest myth we've been sold is that clarity comes from gathering more information. We hunt for answers in podcasts, books, and articles, hoping one more piece of the puzzle will make everything click. We're searching for a signal in the noise, without realizing the noise is the problem. The clarity you're looking for isn't hiding in someone else's voice. It's waiting in the stillness behind your own. This isn't about becoming a hermit or ditching the modern world. It's about learning to use silence as a tool, a secret weapon against the chaos. This is about reclaiming your focus, your peace, and your ability to think deeply in a world that just wants you to skim the surface. Does this sound familiar? You wake up and the very first thing you do is reach for your phone. Before your feet even hit the floor, you're already consuming emails from your boss, headlines about the latest crisis, updates from friends, and ads for things you don't need. You've basically outsourced your first thoughts of the day to an algorithm. Throughout the day, you jump between tasks, fueled by caffeine and the feeling that everything is urgent. Your attention is fractured into 1,000 tiny pieces, scattered across dozens of tabs and chats. By the end of the day, you feel a special kind of tired. It's not that satisfying exhaustion from a day of focused, meaningful work. It's a wired, restless fatigue. You're mentally drained, but you can't seem to switch off. This is the signature feeling of a mind that's been overstimulated and under-recovered. It's the price of living in a constant state of fight or flight, with your body always braced for a threat that never really comes, marinating in a low-level bath of the stress hormone, cortisol. This state doesn't just make us anxious, it messes with our ability to think. It leads to decision fatigue, where the sheer number of choices, big and small, burns up our mental energy, leaving us unable to make good calls when it actually matters. It kills our ability to do deep, creative work, trapping us in a cycle of shallow, reactive tasks. We're always responding, but rarely leading. But maybe the biggest cost is how disconnected we become from our own inner world. With all the external noise, we lose the ability to hear our own intuition, process our emotions, or even figure out what we truly want. We get alienated from our own values. When was the last time you just sat, without any distractions, and asked yourself, "How am I? Really?" When did you last follow a single thought from beginning to end without getting interrupted by a notification or a sudden urge to check your phone? We start to mistake the echo of other people's opinions for our own inner voice. We follow paths laid out for us by society, by ads, by our friends, because we've forgotten how to read our own compass. The tragedy isn't that the world is loud, it's that we've forgotten the profound peace and wisdom that can only be found when we finally get quiet. So what if the answer wasn't to do more, but to do less? What if the solution wasn't another app or productivity hack, but an absence? This is where the radical, game-changing power of intentional silence comes in. Now, silence in this context isn't just a lack of sound, that's just quiet. Intentional silence is a practice. It's a conscious decision to disengage from the outside world so you can connect with your internal one. It's about deliberately creating a sanctuary for your mind, a space free from the demands of modern life. And far from being empty, this silence is full. It's alive, a dynamic force that helps you heal, discover yourself, and recharge. Wisdom traditions have known this for thousands of years. Across cultures, seekers of wisdom realized a basic truth. When the outside world gets quiet, the noise inside your head eventually settles down too. They understood that true wisdom doesn't shout, it whispers. And you can only hear a whisper when you're being quiet. In our world, we think of this as a luxury, something for monks on a mountaintop. But it's a necessity for anyone who wants to live a focused, meaningful, and authentic life. Think of silence as a superpower. In a world where everyone is screaming to be heard, the ability to be quiet, to listen, and to think before you act is a huge advantage. When the marketplace of ideas is totally saturated with noise, clarity becomes the rarest and most valuable thing you can have. Intentional silence is the workshop where that clarity is built. It's how you sift through the mental clutter, separate your own ideas from the noise you've absorbed, and tap into the deeper parts of yourself. It lets you shift from being constantly reactive to taking thoughtful, purposeful action. This isn't just some poetic idea. The power of silence is backed by a growing mountain of scientific research. When you choose to be silent, you're kicking off a chain of real, measurable changes in your body and brain that lead directly to healing and clarity. Let's start with your nervous system. Our default state of constant stimulation keeps us locked in fight or flight mode. Intentional silence is one of the best ways to activate its counterpart, the rest and digest system. When this system kicks in, your whole body basically exhales. Your heart rate slows, your blood pressure drops, and the production of the stress hormone cortisol goes down. In fact, research shows that just 2 minutes of silence can be deeply relaxing, with some studies suggesting it can be even more calming than listening to relaxing music. This shift creates the biological foundation for mental clarity, moving your brain from a state of high alert to one of open awareness. But the effects go even deeper, right into the structure of your brain. A fascinating 2013 study found that giving the brain 2 hours of silence a day led to the development of new cells in the hippocampus. The hippocampus is a critical part of the brain responsible for learning, memory, and managing emotions. So, by practicing silence, you're not just calming your mind, you are literally helping your brain regenerate and build the very structures needed for sharp memory and thinking. Silence also activates what neuroscientists call the brain's default mode network. This is the network that lights up when we're not focused on an outside task. It's the brain state linked to self-reflection, daydreaming, and thinking about the future. When you're constantly bombarded with stuff, your brain never gets the downtime to enter this crucial mode. It doesn't have time to process experiences, file away memories, and connect the dots. Silence gives your brain the space to do this essential background work. This is exactly why your best ideas often pop into your head in the shower, on a quiet walk, or right before you fall asleep. These are moments of relative silence where your default mode network can finally get to work. The benefits ripple through your whole body. Beyond just lowering stress, studies have shown that regular periods of silence can help boost your immune system and improve hormone regulation. By creating this internal calm, you're freeing up your body's resources. Instead of constantly managing stress, your body can focus on repairing, rebuilding, and staying healthy. A clear mind thrives in a calm body. Okay, the idea of embracing silence can sound a little intimidating. Where do you even begin? The beauty of this is its simplicity. You don't need a special cushion or a silent retreat. You just need intention and a few minutes. The most common mistake is thinking you need to silence your thoughts. That's impossible. Your mind is a thought machine. The goal isn't to stop thinking, it's to stop letting your thoughts run the show. It's about changing your relationship with the noise in your head, watching it without getting swept away. If you're just starting, consistency is way more important than duration. Start with just 5 or 10 minutes a day. Find a time that works, maybe first thing in the morning, during a lunch break, or in the evening to decompress. The practice is simple. Turn off the distractions. Put your phone in another room, close the laptop, and just sit somewhere comfortable. To make this real, let's frame it as a challenge. The 20-minute clarity challenge. For 1 week, find just 20 minutes of uninterrupted silence each day. Think of it as a workout for your mind. Here's a simple framework. First, for about 2 minutes, set your intention. This isn't complicated. Just close your eyes and give your practice a purpose. It can be as simple as, I'm here to listen, or I'm creating space for clarity. This helps focus your mind. Next, for about 8 minutes, arrive in your body. Shift your attention from your swirling thoughts to your physical self. Feel the weight of your body in the chair. Notice your hands in your lap. Bring your awareness to your feet on the floor. Then, just notice your breath moving in and out, without trying to change a thing. This step is key. It grounds you in the present moment, which is the only place silence really exists. Then, for the next 10 minutes, simply rest and observe. Widen your awareness to the sounds around you. The hum of the fridge, a distant car. Just notice them without judging. Then, try to listen to the silence underneath those sounds. Your mind is going to wander. That's what minds do. Thoughts about your to-do list or what to have for dinner will pop up. The practice isn't to fight them. Just notice them, give them a little nod, and then gently guide your attention back to your breath, or back to the feeling of silence in the room. Every time you do this, it's a rep, strengthening your focus muscle. This is where the magic happens. As you keep this up, you might find something cool happens. Many people find that after 25 or 30 minutes of sustained quiet, the constant chatter in their head starts to thin out, and a deeper sense of stillness and insight becomes available. Don't force this. It's just a natural response when the mind and nervous system get a real break. Finally, in the last couple of moments, gently bring your awareness back to the room. Maybe pose a quiet question to yourself, like, what's most important right now? Or, what's the kindest next step? Then just listen. Don't search for an answer. Just see what bubbles up from the quiet. Afterwards, it can be really powerful to spend a minute or two journaling any feelings or ideas that came up. Treat these insights like little seedlings you need to capture. When you commit to a regular practice of silence, the effects start to show up in every part of your life. This isn't just about feeling calm for 20 minutes, it's about rewiring how you move through your day. The first thing you'll notice is a boost in mental clarity and concentration. By giving the planning and decision-making part of your brain a regular break, you allow it to work more efficiently when you need it. The fog lifts. You can start to tell the difference between thoughts that actually matter and the anxious mental static that's just taking up space. This is the foundation for making better, more intuitive decisions at work, in your relationships, and in your life. Silence also gives you a safe space to process your emotions. In our busy lives, we often just push difficult feelings down and numb them with distractions. Silence creates the room to finally feel things without judgment. You can sit with your grief, your anger, or your fear, and by simply allowing them to be there, you take away their power over you. This is the path to real emotional resilience. And maybe most importantly, silence is the gateway to self-discovery. When you quiet the outside voices, you finally start to hear your own. You tune into your authentic thoughts, your deepest values, your real desires. You start to see the old habits and patterns that have been running your life on autopilot, and with that awareness comes freedom. You're no longer a slave to your reactions. You gain the clarity and the space to choose how you respond to life with a bit more wisdom and grace. This stillness also becomes a source of creativity. When your mind is freed from the burden of constant processing, it has the space to make new connections and tap into deeper intuition. Creativity needs room to breathe, and silence is the ultimate creative incubator. In a world that never stops talking, the most courageous and revolutionary thing you can do is choose silence. It's the ultimate act of self-care and self-respect. The peace, clarity, and wisdom you're looking for aren't out there, in the next notification or the next social media feed. They've been inside you all along, just waiting in the quiet. The transformation doesn't require some dramatic life overhaul. It begins with a single, conscious choice to turn down the volume of the world so you can finally hear yourself. Your journey into clarity doesn't start tomorrow or next week. It starts with your next breath, in the very next moment of silence you choose to create. This journey into silence is a personal one, and it looks different for everyone. I'm genuinely curious to hear about your experience. What's your relationship with silence? Do you find it relaxing or uncomfortable? Have you ever tried a practice like this? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's create a space where we can all learn from each other. And if this message about finding clarity in the quiet resonates with you, if you feel that pull to step back from the noise and reconnect with yourself, then consider liking this video and subscribing. You're not just joining a channel, you're joining a community of people who are choosing to live a calmer, more intentional, and more authentic life.